Go ahead.
My name is Suzanne Carroll, and I am a cannabis user. I am also a former sister of St. Joseph. I entered the convent a year after I graduated from high school, and I stayed in the convent for 5.5 years. And then I finally determined that that was not the path that God had chosen for me. So I left the convent and went back to secular life. It doesn't mean that I left my love of the church or my love of Christ. I took those with me and have been trying since then to use them for the good of other people. When I began using cannabis or began interacting with the cannabis nurses, I was at the point where I was actually losing hope, which is not who I ever was. But my pain had gotten to the point where I did not feel that I could participate fully in life at that point. But when I started to work with the cannabis nurses, that hope was rekindled. As I said, I was beginning to lose hope. And once I interacted with the cannabis nurses and finally began to be able to relieve some of my pain through the information and the product that they shared with me, I truly believe that I was then encouraged to reinvest myself in my sharing of my love of Christ with others around me.
Go.
Cannabis helped me to grow because, as I said, when I started to lose hope, I was in a stagnant position. I didn't feel like I could make any forward progress, despite the fact that I was involved with the medical community and they were doing everything that they could to relieve my pain and suffering. But finally, through my interaction with the cannabis nurses and my use of cannabis, I actually felt like I had gotten to the point where I could participate fully in the life of Christ. Cannabis has brought healing to me by relieving the intense physical pain that I felt constantly. It has allowed me to grow emotionally to the point where I could, as I said, start to give back some of the things that I had, that I felt Christ had prepared me to give to people around me. Cannabis, religion, and spirituality actually, for me, all form a cohesive whole. I am reminded that if we have faith, then we are prompted to pray. The important thing that I would like to point out is that prayer involves conversation with Christ. And when you talk to somebody, it's extremely important to listen for an answer. And that's one of the things that many of us forget when we are praying. We forget that we're actually talking to a person, and therefore we would expect some sort of response. The problem is the response we are usually looking for is, okay, I'll do what I want, what you want me to do. We need to remember that that's not always the answer that we get. We'll either get that for an answer, or no, I have something else in plan for you, or you know what, you just have to wait. It's not time yet, because healing comes and Christ allows us to suffer for some reason, and therefore healing comes from him, but it comes from him in his own time, not in our time. So we have to be patient and let him respond to our prayers in the way that he sees fit. When I'm dealing with the cannabis nurses, they often ask me, what would Jesus say? And I know exactly what he would say. He would say that marijuana is a plant that he gave us for a reason. And unfortunately, it has a stigma associated with it because some people have abused that plant. But we do have to remember that he gave it to us for a reason, and therefore he would expect us to use it appropriately. I gave permission to the cannabis nurses to interview me and tape it, record it.